Okay, so for tonight's math-based assignment on Introduction to Derivatives, you need to be able to write an interval using interval notation. So I'm going to use this assignment as an example of how to do this. So first of all, on this assignment, which only my fourth period class did, my third period class did not, but you did something similar. You had to identify certain parts of the graph, and then you had to say in what interval was the graph had positive function values and where did it have negative function values. So the interval, we wrote it as an inequality. We said x is greater than 4. So when x was greater than 4, it had positive function values. Well, if I wanted to write that in interval notation, it would look like this. It would say, where are you starting? Okay, I'm starting at 4. And where is it ending? Well, it looks like it's ending at infinity. So it's ending at infinity, and then you just put that into parentheses. That is interval notation. So when it asks you to write interval notation, you're going to have parentheses, where are you starting and where are you ending up? Okay, so this one, where am I starting? Well, I'm starting at negative infinity. And where am I ending up? I'm ending up at 4. And again, I'm only talking about the x values. So this says the same thing as this. X is less than 4. This also says x is less than 4. It's saying x goes from negative infinity up to 4. And here in inequality notation, it says x is greater than 4. And here it is written in interval notation. X is greater than 4, and it goes to positive infinity. Okay, you will also see sometimes interval notation that has brackets like this. That means it includes the endpoints, but you're not going to have any of those on the math space, I don't think. But I'll give you an example. Let me just make up an example on that. So I need some scratch paper. And of course, I don't have any scratch paper handy. Here we go. Scratch paper. All right, so on here, let's say I wanted to talk about the interval from here to here, and I wanted to include the numbers. So my x numbers here are 1.3, and I'm going up to 1.4. And let's say I wanted to have closed dots. If I have closed dots, then I use like this. So my x is going from 1.3 up to 1.4. Okay, if I have open dots, or it's not including a value, so for example, if I have this, here my x value is starting at 1, but since it's an open circle, I use parentheses, and my x value that it's going up to is 1.2. Okay, so this is the difference between not including the points at the endpoints and including the endpoints. Which takes me back to, well, how come infinity doesn't have the little bracket? How come it has a parentheses and not a bracket? It's because you can't actually get to infinity. It's impossible to get to infinity, so that's why we don't have the bracket. And then 4, I don't include the 4 because 0 is neither positive nor negative, so that's why I have a parentheses on this side instead of a bracket. Okay, so that's interval notation. I hope that helps. If you have any further questions, let me know. Okay, again, here, interval notation. Here's this interval right here. And I'm just talking about my x values. I'm not talking about my y values. These are just my x values. Starts at 1.3 and it ends at 1.4. Okay, and then this one, it starts at 1 and it ends at 1.2. And the difference between open circles and closed circles. So open circles has parentheses, closed circles has brackets, and I believe all the ones in math space today are not going to include the ending values because most of them have to do with infinity or things like this where the value is on the what am I doing? Yeah, is on the x-axis, so we're not going to include that. Alrighty, good luck. If you have any questions, email me.